Hello, folks. Welcome back to Fearox Frank Reviews. Let me first start off by saying happy birthday to Fearox Frank. For you're a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good. Who am I kidding? I'm terrible at singing. I mean, seriously, I'm a goddamn dinosaur who does karate training all the time, and I play video games. I mean, what kind of life is that for me? Well, either way, I find it's kind of a damn decent life. Anyway, folks, today is Fearox Frank's birthday, but it's also Godzilla's birthday. And that's not a joke. The thing is, it's purely by coincidence. You see, for every Godzilla fan, today, November 3rd, is considered Godzilla Day. And that's not a joke. It is called Godzilla Day. Why is that? Well, Toho years ago said that Godzilla's birthday was May something, but fans did some research and found out the first film, Gojira, was released on this day in 1954. That means that this day is officially Godzilla's birthday. And now Fearox Frank is going to review not one, not two, but three films and an anime series. All Godzilla related. That's right, he's going to review all three of the Netflix Godzilla anime films and Godzilla's Singular Point. You know, Joy and I had to sit down and watch the films with them. They are interesting, to say the least. I'm not a huge fan of these particular movies, but when it comes down to the old school Godzilla films where it's a guy in a suit, I like those better. Sometimes you just can't beat old school. I'm sorry. I mean, think about it. Old school is a lot more better. Also, here's something a bit more of an interest. Fearox Frank actually started making these videos during October. Right, hence why you'll see him he still has the Jesse Stone goatee. Yeah, like he still has the literal goatee in like one of the videos, and he starts shaving it off like afterwards. So yeah. So just keep in mind if he has a goatee in one of the videos and nothing, and like just this, you know, his chin strap thing. That's only because of the fact that he has his soul patch. Yeah, that's mainly because of the fact he started making these videos late in October, after he was done making all the other Halloween videos. That's why Joe and I actually had to decided to do a movie review for afterwards. Anyway, that being said and done, let's take a look at the first chapter of this anime trilogy, Godzilla, Planet of Monsters. Hello, folks. Guess what? Happy birthday to me. And, of course, happy birthday to Godzilla, the King of the Monsters. There's a new Godzilla movie out there right now called Godzilla -1. And next year, we're getting the next chapter of the Monsterverse. And we got Godzilla going to be one of the main characters in the Monarch series on Apple TV. Oh, my God. We got so much more Godzilla stuff to go on. Okay, to be fair, if you heard Rex's chant earlier, at the beginning earlier on this video, you know for a fact that I'm actually filming this thing in the middle of October. Hence why I still have my goatee on, because I'm trying to cosplay as Jesse Stone from the Jesse Stone movies Tom Selleck starred in, which I have yet to review yet. So to be fair, those are decent Hallmark. Those are okay Hallmark movies, and to be fair, it's Tom Selleck. Let it pass. Okay, so in celebration of Godzilla's birthday and my birthday, since ironically, how weird is it I share the same birthday with Godzilla? I mean, what were the odds of that? How the fuck would I know that I would actually share the same birthday with my favorite fictionalized character? I'm not even kidding. What were the odds? But look, all that aside, today I'm going to review this is going to be part one of three videos in this collaboration, which is Godzilla, the Netflix anime trilogy, or the Planet of Monsters trilogy, or Godzilla Earth trilogy, as you would mostly call it. And I know what you're thinking. Fearox Frank, how the hell can you review the film if you don't have a physical copy of it? Yeah, I've already made that. I already made that abundantly clear that I will not review a movie if I don't have a physical copy of it. But I've made a couple of exceptions beforehand, like for example, the Tom and Jerry movie from 2 years ago. I was able to review that because I decided, you know what, I was going back and forth like a madman. I also did the same thing with Mortal Kombat and Godzilla vs Kong, which I've kind of regretted about that review. But you know what, that was in the past. And of course, I just got HBO Max, and I was going crazy at that point. So, yeah. So I did 3 spoiler reviews, which was, to be fair, not a bad idea. But hey, I enjoyed those movies regardless. Though to be fair, Godzilla vs Kong was a lot better than the other 2 films. So what about the Netflix trilogy? Well, that kind of sucks because there actually are things on Netflix I do want to review. Like for example, Troll. Yeah, yeah, that movie. I already did Troll. I mean, come on. Troll Hunter's a good movie. I have the DVD copy of that. And that's a good movie, regardless. It's a good found footage film. As for the movie Troll, holy crap, that is actually a good monster movie. All right, it's a kaiju style film that's made in Europe. You know what? I am waiting for a sequel to come up for that. That was actually a pretty decent film. However, I want to get a physical copy of that so I can review it. Hmm. Now, what about the Godzilla trilogy? Well, coincidentally, I have a physical copy of the entire trilogy. Yeah, this thing actually has all 3 of the movies. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, look at this. It's a 3 disc thing. I found this on eBay 2 years ago. I was really contemplating. Oh, actually, not 2 years ago. It was like early last year, like in the middle of the winter. I found this thing on eBay for $10. I was looking at that like, are you serious? Somebody actually, and it's legit from Netflix. It's legit the entire Netflix thing. All right, and both languages are in Japanese and English, and the subtitles are in Chinese and English, which is kind of weird because I think the Netflix thing has uh, more subtitle options, but that could be just me. But hey, all 3 of the movies are on this thing. But here's the thing. I graduated college recently this year as an associate of arts and graphic designing. And as an artist, let me just have let's take a look at this thing. Let's really take a look at this thing. All right. I'm gonna be honest. This is really killing the image for me. I mean, okay, all 3 of these poster designs are really cool. I mean, these are really great poster designs. For the first, the second, and the third films, these are really good designs. Well, may I ask, why is the 2014 Godzilla on here? Why is he on here? He's not even in the movie. Okay, there was a rumors going around saying that Godzilla from the film was actually that his shape was inspired by the 2014 Godzilla at the time. So I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna look at the movie. So anyway, we're gonna look at the film in general, which is the first film, and the film is called Godzilla: Planet of Monsters. That being said, let's take a look at this movie. I'm going to keep this as short as possible because one, I got 2 other movies and possibly something else to go along with it. Let's get this over with. So, Godzilla: Planet of Monsters starts off in the near future, or possible like a new future. Like originally supposed to take place in 2050 at some point, but that's like when when the whole thing started. When the whole thing starts with the spaceship, the mothership called the Atrum, which has humans, 2 other alien species known as Bella Saludo, which is actually the aliens that created the Mechagodzilla in the Showa franchise. So now we actually have a good idea what the hell their fucking species is called. At this point on, I call the species Bella Saludo from this point on. Or the Bella Saludo. It makes more sense. And we have the Exif. What are the Exif? They're actually based on the Exilians from King Ghidorah, from the King Ghidorah films. Yeah, except they have less technology and they're more like the High Elves from the Elder Scrolls games, which is really weird. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the High Elves were actually the inspiration for the characters, or they could have been the characters before they actually got high on technology and became world conquerors. So who knows? Maybe the X's are the original versions of what the Exilians were. You know, kind of like the Sonar and the Baku from Star Trek Insurrection. The only problem is that film was terrible. But hey, I put up with that film because of the fact that it's Star Trek. So basically, you're introduced to our main character, Haru, and yes, he was named after Haru Nakajima, the original actor who played Godzilla. Why? Because that actor is the fucking GOAT. Also, he actually died before the film was even finished, so it's unfortunate he wasn't able to see the film. But he did give us thumbs up for the American Godzilla film, so that's a good thing to know. So they actually are. So on the Atrium, which is the mothership, humanity has been spending 20 years looking for a brand new planet because they were kicked off the Earth. For I'll get to that in a minute. But it's mainly because of the fact they're actually at a they get to the planet they were trying to get to, which is an Earth-like planet, but it's a barren wasteland planet that's beyond toxic. How and who wants to go on the planet? The elderly. Why? Because they've been in space for almost 20 years. They can't stand it anymore. They want to actually, for the last moments of their life, they want to actually go on a planet. And Haru is threatening to blow up the shuttlecraft with an explosive device. Unfortunately, he doesn't do it because his grandfather, who's one of the people who want to go on the planet, tell him to stand down, which he does. He gets arrested. He sees the ship going down, but it explodes the second it hits the atmosphere, leaving Haru going completely mad in anger. And Haru's character, I'm not going to lie, he technically gets worse as the movie series progresses. He has one goal in mind, and he doesn't actually see the consequences of his actions until the third film. So spoilers ahead. So Haru actually narrates during the opening credits of what's happened that during the early days of the 21st century, the Earth was suffering from a kaiju apocalypse. Monsters mostly Toho monsters, came up and decided to attack mankind, destroying the Earth at this point. And here's a fun fact. Godzilla was not the first monster to actually show up. No, there have been many other monsters that came up before him, including Orga, Biolante, and Zilla. Yeah, and Biolante is supposed to be a clone of Godzilla, and so is Orga. But in this movie's universe, they're both monsters that were actually created by Earth itself to combat against humans, which is weird. Why did I say combat against humans? Well, the second movie explains it a lot more, and it's even more confusing, but it makes sense. So what happens? Well, terrible things actually wind up happening. As eventually Gigan, there's actually a backstory with Gigan that's actually in a novelization version of this movie, which is actually sold in Japan only, so nobody knew about this. So anyway, the Bella Saludo and the Exif have come down to actually help mankind. And by the way, here's a bit of a fun fact: Zilla, Biolante, and Orga actually all share the same DNA sequence with Godzilla. So it's a possibility that Godzilla was spawned from the three remnants of all three of those monsters. In this film's universe, that is. Oh yeah. You wanna know how Zilla became a big danger? Yeah. Remember in the American Godzilla film, the Zilla movie, where the worst case scenario actually happened in that film. Yeah, where the military failed to stop the monster and the creature just took over a country and started to spread its spawn all over the world. That actually happened in this movie, at least in the time sequence of this film. Except it was Australia, not America, and Australia has been deemed uninhabitable by humans or any other life except for the Zillas. So during the years, mankind has fought back for years against the kaiju. They won some, they lost some, it got worse and worse. But the worst of all is when Godzilla showed up and he attacked everything. Man or monster, he just took over everything. Godzilla was basically considered the most unstoppable beast in the entire history of man. Nothing could stop him. So, but they even at some point launched 50 nukes on Godzilla in the middle of America, on American soil, and he has a protective shield on him. Yeah. Godzilla, in this film series, has a protective shield covering him from harmful attacks. And it took 50 nukes that probably slow him down. He wasn't even touched by him. Yeah. He has a shield around his entire body, which is insane. And what's Godzilla actually look like? Well, okay. Best description, he looks like mostly like the legendary monster versus Godzilla, but since I have the DVD right here, let's have a good look at him. All right, here's what he looks like on the cover. He's actually a plant-based monster because Biollante, Orga, and eventually the Zillas were actually the main inspiration for Godzilla in this franchise. My guess is the physical form originally started off with Orga, and the reptilian features were obviously from Zilla. But Godzilla is a plant in this film series. In fact, get a good look at him too. This is what he looks like. He's a plant monster. So my guess is he's actually the son of Biollante in this version, which is extremely weird. But okay, sure, whatever. And of course, Godzilla is continually destroying everything. He destroys everything. But what's even more weird is his heat ray. You want to know where it comes out of? Not from his mouth. No, from right here on his nose. And okay, look at my finger. You see where my finger is right now? It actually turns into a wave forming right by his nose, and it shoots outward like a laser. I'm not gonna lie, that is the worst atomic heat ray I've ever seen in the franchise of Godzilla films. All right, but those joking aside, this Godzilla right here has the best heat ray in modern films. That is until I see Godzilla -1, which actually looks more old school, even though it's CG. Hey, Godzilla looks fucking great in that film. Haruo has a personal vendetta against Godzilla, mainly due to the fact that, well, Godzilla actually killed off his family as they were trying to leave the Earth. In fact, he destroys one of the ships as it was trying to leave orbit, showing how ruthless he was. Yeah. And he has a lot of hatred towards Godzilla. During his 20 years, he's actually been studying Godzilla while he was on the Ashram ship, finding there had to be a way to stop Godzilla, and he found several ideal ways of how to stop him. His only best friend, well, let's see, is his female officer, and of course, there's also Memphis, his main character, an ex-priest who's actually also his best friend, but he's not converted to any religion. But Memphis does actually assist him in actually the research, and he uploads the file onto the main servers of the ship, where everybody sees that there's a way to actually stop Godzilla. And his girlfriend, well, not girlfriend, her name is Yuko, by the way. His female friend, his name is Yuko. And there's several other characters who are also based on other actors who played in the films, but I'm not going to get into full detail because this is going to be a long fucking video if I did that. But eventually, they decided, okay. So the higher council actually looks over the research and saying that there may have been that there actually could be a way to stop Godzilla permanently. But after searching in space for almost 20 years, and people have been dying from sickness, and of course, less food supplies. The rations have gone down so low. It's like, you know what? And the planet they were trying to get to was beyond hospitable. Was not even hospitable at all. It was a death sentence. They said, okay, the hell with this. We're going back to Earth. There's nothing else we could do. But if they do that, a lot of time will pass because at this point they realize that time and space are two completely separate things. So if they jump into hyperspace, they'll be able to get to the future. They'll be able to get back to Earth, but it'll be at least 1,000 years or so into the future, or either a few hundred years to maybe 1,000 years into the future. So at that point, maybe things will finally calm down. Okay, so they do that, and they see the Earth is a luscious green beauty of a planet. Oh my god! And apparently, the atmosphere, it's like the planet. It's been over 1,000 years. Oh my god, we've been gone for that long? It's been 20 years for us, but it's been about 1,000 years on the planet. Okay, then. Set a drone down. Let's take a look at it. Okay, good readings, good readings, good readings. But then they hear Godzilla's roar at the end, and then they lose transmission. And and the council freaks out. It's like, maybe it was the wind. That could have been the wind. Idiots! Who the hell could forget that fucking roar? He's still down there after 1,000 years? Are you shitting me? How is he alive? How? So the council at this point has no choice. They release Haruo from prison on the special release program under Memphis and the cap, and of course a captain who actually agrees to go down on Earth. But instead look over Haruo's research and find out where the actual shield generator is. And where is it? Well, it's one of these dorsal plates. Yeah. Also, there's supposedly a frequency they can actually hit Godzilla in at some point where they actually go right through his shielding and actually hit him. But they have to do it. When they do, they have to hit the shield generator, which actually they can actually fully hit him and actually use a new type of tactical attack that will pierce right into Godzilla's skin and actually cause him to overload and explode. So that's supposedly what they're planning to do. Anyway, they send down several ships. One actually got hit by something. They don't know what it is. Even the Metal Saludo are very concerned because this is something they haven't gone through yet. The atmosphere is somewhat hostile, is not as hostile as they thought it was, but the air supply is, well, not suitable enough for them to breathe. But there are some spots on the planet where they can breathe in the atmosphere. They just don't know it yet. And they decide to explore the planet. And one of the guys about to touch a leaf, and there's a scientist by the name of Dr. Martin, who's actually a clear reference to Steve Martin's character, played by Raymond Burr, in the American Godzilla film. And actually, he's one of the better. And I'm not going to lie, he's actually my favorite character in the whole. He's my favorite human character in the whole film series. But because he's always calculating, and he always actually knows the answers eventually. But anyway, he takes out the knife. He's like, "Do not touch that leaf." Why? Plant? Night. Wow. Shit. Good thing you did not touch that fucking plant. So the plants are not very hospitable, to say the least. Yeah. Well, they come across a city. But it's not really a city. It's actually demolished ruins of buildings, and according to which the sediment around them, that the buildings actually have been destroyed, but the sediment and the rock formations actually still formed around them, actually giving the illusion that it was still a city at some point. And Haruo gets all emotional, saying that we may have left, but you haven't forgotten us at all. So, yeah, Haruo, I would not be cheerful about this whole thing because, spoiler alert, the Earth actually wanted you guys gone. How do I know this? It's in the second film. So anyway, the base camps all get attacked by dragons. Yeah, like little stringy-eyed dragon creatures that are about the size of the dragons from Skyrim. And wow, that's kind of weird. Like we have creatures that look like dragons that could have been on the scale of the dragons from Skyrim. They act like dragons, and the Exif are actually they look like high elves from the Elder Scrolls games. What are you gonna tell me next? That the Bell Saludo were kind of based off the orcs? That wouldn't be surprising. Hey. Anyway, these dragon creatures called the Servo, and after they kill a couple of them, they actually examine its DNA. Its DNA matches the plant life on the planet, and it's almost identical to Godzilla's DNA. So it's like the plant. So it's like the planet is almost suited for Godzilla's purposes. That's not good. So anyway, they decide to pack up and leave, but the problem is they can't actually take off until they get to one of the bigger base camps where they can take off. So two parties get together, go to the main party area, the main camp area, but they run into Godzilla and they actually try to fight him off. So they try to get away, but he's not showing them any signs of he's not letting them get away. So Memphis actually releases Haruo and Haruo actually fights off Godzilla, but he's using a hover bike, and he's shooting the shit out of him, but it's not doing any damage to him whatsoever because it's got fucking Zilla for Christ's sake. But he's not even attempting using the shield. So anyway, the main captain of the party actually tells one of his officers tells all of his officers to leave the ship he's currently on, and he actually assists Haruo. Rather than actually Haruo doing a nosedive to actually do more damage on the Godzilla, the main captain actually of the landing party decides to attack Godzilla instead, which of course causes Godzilla to actually activate his shield and then go attack. He dies in the process, of course, but he died giving them the information about Godzilla. However, now the second in command of the landing party is Memphis, but he's not a military tactician, so he gives the command to Haruo, and Haruo tells the Bella Saludo and everybody else to prepare. We are going to fight Godzilla and take back this Earth. But there's something else. While doing the research on the server and the plants, Professor Morgan came to a horrible realization. It wasn't 1,000 years that had passed by. It was 20,000. It's been over 21,000 years. Yeah, they were gone for that fucking long, and the planet actually became more hospitable for Godzilla. Holy shit, that's not good. So anyway, the entire landing party and the military force actually get ready for Haruro's plan, which is to actually get Godzilla into a mountain pass area, collect, get him to activate it, collapse an entire mountain range, and collapse the mountains of dirt, mountains of a mountain range onto him, and get him to actually shut off the shield, destroy the shield generator, the dorsal fin, whichever it is, get these robotic creatures that use like walker robots to actually go on top of Godzilla's back and implant a bunch of explosive devices or mines to actually burrow inside Godzilla to make him overload. So they do that, and the fight sequence is okay to say the least. Yeah. So they try their best. They do fight off Godzilla, and well, yeah, he is putting up a bigger fight than usual because he's gone through this for a long time. Anyways, eventually the plan does work. They actually get him to the mountain pass area, but they actually have to lure him to a certain mountain pass area. He actually goes into the mountain pass area, and they finally were able to actually and they were finally able to get him into the exact spot where they have to explode the mountains around him and actually cave him in. Just crush him in by an avalanche of dirt and rock, which of course he finally gets stuck, but the shield is still going off. Eventually, they do fire off the shield. Haruo actually gets who's in a giant mech suit, and goes on the Godzilla and actually continues to fight him and gets the target area where the shield generator is. They destroy the shield generator. All the mech suits get on top of Godzilla, plant the explosives onto him though, but he eventually recovers and actually the mechs get thrown off of him. And Haruo is right there next to Godzilla. And he's about to blow his heat ray, but the explosives are going off, and it's driving Godzilla's internal energy haywire. And before Godzilla can blow off shoot his heat ray, kaboom! He explodes! Godzilla is dead. Oh. And, wait, this is a trilogy of films. They killed Godzilla off in the beginning? What the fuck? How is that possible? Nothing is what it seems. Anyway, the crew actually gather in on the celebration, the Bella Salute. So, and of course, Haruo is now excited that he finally got to kill the monster that caused them to leave the planet. But Professor Morton actually shits on his parade by telling him it's possible that maybe there could have been more than one Godzilla, and maybe this thing may have not been the same thing. It's been 20,000 years. Why would Godzilla remain? And Godzilla remained the exact same after 20,000 years. Something didn't add up. Godzilla probably would have continued to evolve or something, so it's possible maybe this could have been a subspecies of Godzilla or something. Or maybe it was another creature altogether that just resembled Godzilla. So he shits on his parade. However, Haruo assures that if there's more than one Godzilla, we're prepared for it. And then massive earthquake happens. Yeah, we get a massive twist ending nobody saw coming. Although it was announced in the trailer, so that was not good at all whatsoever. Anyway, the giant mountain that was right behind them this entire time, it starts erupting, and a giant tail emerges, and Godzilla comes right up out of the ground. The Godzilla they killed was at least 50 meters tall, all right? But this Godzilla that just popped out of the mountain is over 315 meters tall. He's the size of the fucking Chrysler building from New York. I'm not shitting around. And to make matters worse, it's the original Godzilla that forced him to leave the planet. So, and Haruo is looking in awe, in shock, horror, and surprise. And it's like, wait, that can't be Godzilla. There's no way it is. Martin actually tells him, no, it has to be Godzilla. After 20,000 years with nobody to actually challenge him, he just continued to grow and evolve. Haruo, that is the real Godzilla. Holy shit. Man, we are not prepared for this at all whatsoever. And we see, we see Memphis actually delivering a bit of a speech to Godzilla. It's like, oh, for us it's been 20 years, but for you it was 20,000 years. It's been a long time. Oh, king of the monsters. He says it pretty menacingly, though, so there's clearly something going on there. Anyway, Godzilla lets out a massive roar, stating his dominance of the Earth. Anyway, all the landing parties try to get away, but here's the thing: Godzilla actually has new techniques. With one swipe of his, no, what? So what does he do? He lights up his dorsal fins. You think he's going to shoot a heat ray? No. He makes a sonic scream that comes out of his mouth to replace the heat ray. That actually disrupts a lot. Actually disrupts the instruments of the landing party gear, causing half the ships to crash. While the rest of the ships are trying to get away, what does he do? Dum, dum, and whoosh, a tail slip, and a laser comes right out of the tail. Literally, it just causes a massive shockwave, destroying the rest of the ships. Oh, yeah. 315 meters tall, the size of the Chrysler building, 20,000 years old. Yeah, this motherfucker has got more techniques out of his ass. For context, you want to know how big this Godzilla is? Well, looking at this legendary Godzilla design figurine, this legendary Godzilla figure I have, how big would Shin Godzilla be? Right here, up to his knee. Yeah, and as far as like the smaller Godzilla was like around somewhere around here-ish. And we come to this realization. The Godzilla they killed was called Godzilla Filius, which is Latin for son, while this Godzilla, the one on the posters and everything else, is called Godzilla Earth. Yeah. Oh. And Haruo is like Kaden, one of the ships. He declares that he will kill Godzilla, but dude, really? Dude, you're not gonna beat this guy. He's way too fucking powerful. You spent like 20 years in space trying to survive. You're at this point in dying. He took over the Earth in less than a century at this point, and he's ruled the planet for over 20,000 years. Either way, Haruo, you might want to rethink your plan, idiots. And we get the credits rolling in, and we get a post-credit sequence of a native woman actually healing Haruo. Yeah, there was actually earlier on clips when they got to the planet. There was actually some people running around in the woods, but nobody acknowledged it. All right, and while we see one of the natives on the planet, and that was Godzilla, Planet of Monsters. All in all, kind of slow. The animation is like okay, it's CGI animation, but not great at all. But really okay-ish. Not great. If you're a Godzilla fan, I would suggest watching this. If you're not a monster fan, I wouldn't recommend watching this. If you're a sci-fi fan and an anime fan, I would suggest giving it a watch, but that's up to you. Oh, that is just part one of 3 films. Oh God, wish me luck. Well, one down already. And 2 more films and 1 anime series to go. Oh my God. Seriously, who would have figured Godzilla would have been around the size of the Chrysler building at the end of the film? I mean, really? Godzilla, the size of the Chrysler building? Like he's not big enough already as it is? Seriously. 315 meters tall. Jesus, ever-loving Christ. Wow. That's, pretty damn big when you think about it. But hey, that's just one film out of 3. You know what? Joking aside, I could literally come up with a better Godzilla scenario than that. But who the hell knows? Anyway, let's take a look at part 2. Okay, where's the... here we go. Here is part 2. Oh, it's time for part 2. Oh, nice. It's like, what, 12:30 in the morning at this point? I'm like half dead. Oh, yeah. Well, here we go. Now, we're going to continue the Godzilla Netflix anime trilogy. The second film within the trilogy is called City on the Edge of Battle. It immediately picks up right after the events of the first film. with Haruo meeting up with the other survivors. The other Bellis Ludos, the other humans, and Bethy's. But here's the thing: the movie picks up back on the Atrum, where they actually pick up the final signal. What's been happening? And they heard that they killed Godzilla down there, but it turns out it was the wrong Godzilla because the first Godzilla they killed was Godzilla Phileas, and now Godzilla has rose. The real Godzilla, known as Godzilla Earth, has actually now arisen. And you get an image of him on the monitor, and he is massive. Well, of course, they say he's around 300 meters tall, but yeah, that's a big mistake. In the first movie, he said he was over 300 meters tall. His actual height is actually 315 meters tall, and he weighs around 100,000 tons. Oh my god! 100,000 tons? This thing actually weighs more than that one does. I'm not kidding. Okay, this Godzilla figure I have right here is actually from Godzilla vs. Kong. He's what, at least 120 meters tall, and he is over 100,000 tons. Yeah, because he's pure muscle. He's built like a strong man. All right, he is physically ridiculously strong as all hell. While Godzilla Earth is well over 315 meters tall and he's 100,000 tons. You know what? This Godzilla's gonna get his ass whooped by this Godzilla, and he's small. How small is he? He's on the size of his fucking knee. I mean, seriously, this guy can literally pick him up. How fucking ridiculous would that be? Wow. Toho. Seriously? What the hell were you guys thinking about that one? Wow. I mean, wow. Oh, that is bad. They can't even get his weight right. So you know what? Ugh. Okay, so the hell with it. Anyway, now they actually should measure Godzilla's power level at this point, and if he would shoot his heat right from the surface, it would actually reach the Atrum where the hell it is at the moment, and possibly hit the moon. Wow, he's that strong. Yeah, after 20,000 years, I'm pretty sure he's gotten a lot stronger. So, okay. Anyway, Haru actually comes across a young girl who actually treated him earlier, and he's a little bit surprised. This young girl's a native girl who's actually from Earth, and he's like, "Wait, are there other survivors here?" I'm looking at him like, Haru, are you that fucking stupid? Obviously, there were survivors. Ugh. My God. Also, I gotta be honest here. The one thing I did not like about this movie was the fact how they treat the other humans in this movie. How they just treat. I mean, these people are. I mean, okay, the survivors that are on Earth, I can respect them, but on the Atrum, they're fucking idiots. Beyond fucking idiots. Anyway, Haru actually notices that he's actually able to breathe in the atmosphere because apparently the atmosphere where the native girl actually lives, is actually hospitable for, well, the humans. Well, gee, no shit. Anyway, Yoko, Galgu, and Galgu. I'm pretty sure it's Galgu. It could be the other guy, or I don't know. The lead Salu guy's name is Galgu, and fuck, he forget what the other guy's name was at this point. Because I'm really tired. I mean, like I said, it's like already past 12:30 at this point. And I'm like really exhausted. So please excuse the fact that I'm extremely tired at this point. Hopefully, I can actually do the third film during the daytime after I'm not so exhausted. So yeah, the other survivors are actually being attacked by apparently the same girl. What? and they're surrounded by natives. They're shooting their guns off and everything, and they're not hitting anything. So, however, Haru comes nearby and actually kind of tells them to stop and tell them they were actually human survivors. And of course, anyway, they get surrounded, and Haru and the team make a huge discovery that the girl that Haru was with earlier and the one that attacked the team are twins. Yeah, and the names are Mayana and Miyana. Mayana, Miyana, and I can't tell which one's which. Okay, one's obviously mean, the other one's obviously sweethearted. And you kind of see where this is going to be leading towards, too, all right? They're a native tribe, and they actually take them down to the underground layer called the Hotua layer. This race of human beings, it's called the Hotua. And they actually meet Professor Martin and the rest of the Bella Saludo team and the other human survivors. Good to know. And of course, this is what really pissed me off. The Bella Saludo don't actually consider these people actual humans. They actually seem more like insects. So, while they do fit the criteria, they don't actually represent the fact of being human. Guys, it's been over 20,000. It's been 20,000 years, right? Over 20,000 years. Yeah, evolution doesn't work like that. All right, if they were insects, they would need over 1,000,000 years of evolution. With humans, it took us over 1,000,000 years to evolve from apes to what we are today. All right, use your fucking heads, morons. Okay, you know what? Here's the thing, you dumb fucks. Hey, Galagu. Listen here. Here's what happened. All right. The remnants of humanity actually mixed with these people, okay? And they developed these so-called insect-like traits, like the ability to produce dust or some kind of scales coming off their bodies. They produced that over time. All right. A couple of thousand years is actually a good genetic factor for them to actually come up with this shit. After breeding with them, it was obvious what happened. All right. So these people are actually human. You dumb fuck. I'm sorry. It's just Gallagher really pissed me off in this movie. The character of Gallagher really pissed me off when he actually didn't actually consider them as human. But here's the thing, folks. They are human. They're humanity of what's left on Earth. After the Astrum and the other people had left in space, people on Earth stayed behind and they just gave up technology and worked with the people known as which are the Hotua's ancestors. And who are the Hotua's ancestors? And there's Mothra's people! Yeah! Mothra! I don't know it's Mothra? Because they worship the egg. The actual Mothra egg. And Mothra is their goddess. So it's pretty fucking obvious what happened. Alright? They survived. The rest of humanity, who actually had remained on Earth, eventually joined with them, and they survived with nature, coexisting with Godzilla. Fucking moron! Wow. So anyway, they actually tried to communicate with Hotua via telekinesis or some shit. I really don't fucking care at this point. And they decided to actually go out into the world to actually look for one of the other ships during the Godzilla attack, Phileas' attack, not Earth, because apparently Godzilla is actually still roaming the area. Because not only is he looking for the human survivors, he's actually there for a different reason, and he's been there for the last several hundred. He's been there for the last couple of thousand years, apparently, because he's been roaming this particular area for the last couple of thousand years. But every couple hundred years, he has to move on or something to keep the other monsters in check, because he's the ruler of the earth. Okay, makes sense. Why is he in this particular area? Well, he was actually resting, but something's been bothering him ever since. We don't know what it was yet. So Okay, Yoko is actually getting annoyed with the fact that okay, Yoko has feelings for Haruo, but Haruo is getting more and more in-depth feelings with the twins, and and Professor Martin is all fascinating. Meanwhile, Yoko gets attacked by well, some servant plants, and okay, the team comes in and tries to rescue her, while the Hotua are actually shooting at the plants with special tipped arrows, and it got the Bella Saluto's attention. They're looking at the arrows, and they notice there's a metal tip at the end. And Captain Gallagher and his men actually look at the thing, and they're actually even in shock to even know what the metal is actually made out of because they didn't even know it even survived. It's nanometal, the same nanometal that was used in Mechagodzilla's construction. So, with that being said, the Bella Saluta tell Haru, but anyway, before that, Memphis and his team meet up with Haru's team, and well, they are fully debriefed, and they actually and they try to contact the Atrum and tell them that they're okay, but they do need some supplies, some medical attention. Okay, they send a ship down, and they actually come up with a conclusion. Maybe they should actually send some people back up. But the Bell Saluda tell them, actually show Haru and everybody else this special tip arrow that it's actually nanometal, the same nanometal that was used in Mechagodzilla's construction. So that means that they actually got it from the actual source that was in Mount Fuji. Okay, Mechagodzilla was constructed in a base in Mount Fuji, and they actually are close to where the base actually was. So it's a possibility that maybe the nanomel actually, okay, well, the machine didn't, obviously Mechagodzilla died before it was activated, but the nanomel was still active. So they come up, so they decide to do exactly what they did with Haruo's plan, only this time around they have something even better. The nanomel can actually puncture Godzilla's skin relatively very easily. Oh, so I see what you're gonna do. You're gonna try to use pieces of Mechagodzilla's body as the weapon. Good luck with that. Yeah, with a skyscraper-sized Godzilla. Seriously, good luck with that. Yeah. Anyway, the twins actually show them where the now mill was, and and we get some more information from Martin of what actually has been happening on Earth. Ever since they left. Well, here's the thing: Godzilla clearly took over the planet to bring back balance to Mother Nature. However, it didn't exactly go that way. Apparently, there was a genetic monster effect that would happen. Based on what happened with the Hotua, yes, they did actually have some insect qualities, but they are still human. So that means they developed the insect qualities over time because of a genetic monster factor. Godzilla had the exact same effect on Earth, but the process wasn't exactly what Earth wanted. All right, so in the end, Godzilla has now been trying to balance everything out as best as he could because he literally went overboard. Godzilla's purpose was to actually stop humanity from destroying the Earth, but in doing so, he went too far and really almost wiped out countless civilizations. And okay, he was only supposed to wipe out maybe a third of the civilizations, but he nearly destroyed the whole planet. So yeah, he's been trying to fix it ever since. So the Earth is now going under God. Has now actually chose Godzilla as its rightful ruler, as the rightful heir to the planet. So he is. So basically, Earth chose Godzilla to actually clean the planet up. However, like I said, he went too far, and he's been trying to fix it ever since. So yeah, even he realized he made a mistake. The King of the Monsters in this movie made a fucking mistake. What were the odds of that? Pretty long odds, I'm afraid. Pretty long odds. Anyway, they get to Mount Fuji and they're immediately attacked by the Servum, and something very, very strange happens. As they're shooting at them, they only have a couple of walkers left, a couple of those mech walkers behind, and some small artillery fire. But giant metal spikes literally come right out of the ground and kill the Servum. And they're all in shock. They're all in horrified shock. But the Bella Saludo is like, no way that has happened. No, did it really just happen? And there's a massive fog within Mount Fuji, and as it clears, there's a city within it, and the whole thing is made out of nanometal. They pull up the radar and they are getting a radio signal from it. And what is it? It's Mechagodzilla's brain. Mechagodzilla was still alive this whole time. After 20,000 years, not only was he alive, but he rebuilt the entire facility and turned it into a city made out of his own body. Yeah, his nanometal just grew constantly and turned Mount Fuji into the last civilized city on Earth. Wow! Mechagodzilla City. What the fuck were the odds of that? Oh, wow. It's literally like, I'm not gonna lie, this is actually like the best part of the entire trilogy. Mechagodzilla City is arguably the best thing in the whole thing, in the whole film series. I'm not even joking. This trilogy, Mechagodzilla City, wow. So they get inside, they make their way all the way up to Mechagodzilla's body itself, where the body was, and they activated the brain, and now they have full control of the whole thing. They have full control of the whole city. Now they have a city to combat Godzilla. So they can just do Haruo's plan again, only this time using the city to actually fight him off. Oh, man, that is so freaking cool. And actually, here's my idea. When you rebuild, now you have the city and you're fortifying it, that's great. And why don't you rebuild Mechagodzilla, you morons? I mean, okay, they don't actually do that, but they do remodify the walkers to turn them into flying mechs called vultures. Not really a fan of those names or whatever. Anyway, as they actually are fortifying the city, getting ready for Godzilla's attack, they now have full control of they actually have full control of the radio system, and the Astrum is now in full contact with them. And they've been going back and forth with the plans, sending more of those Saluda to come down, and some more people to come down to assist with the fortification. And some of the people are actually freaked out to even be down there because there were human bodies actually encased in nanometal. But the thing is, nanometal will not attack humans if they're still alive. Since they were already killed during Godzilla's attack 20,000 years ago, uh, sucks for them. But wouldn't it have made more sense to actually have them remove those bodies? It's kind of freaky having them around there. Jesus. But all the same, they continue fortifying the city, and Yoko and Haru get more and more romantically acquainted. But Haru and certain members are getting sick in the city for some reason. So Martin happened to notice this, and he has them actually leave the city for a little while, be in the case for a bit, and then come back, and then he felt better afterwards. But anyway, the one thing that's a factor here that Martin actually realized is that all the people who actually are sick were the ones that were treated by the Hotua. Huh. Okay, that's rather interesting. Anyway, Memphis actually has more talks with Haru, even more. And the Metal Saluter actually fixed up a amulet of sorts that was actually an ancient artifact for the uh, just this ancient artifact thing for Memphis's clan. It's for their god. I mean, seriously. I know the Exif actually are supposed to be religionary types, and they're actually the original versions of the Exilians, but still. The way they just do everything, it's all evil. In the end, it's just not right. Anyway, basically, Memphis holds a spiritualized meeting and something, like a church meeting, and he talks to Haru, and he says that there's something wrong with Mechagodzilla City, and because they're in the cave, and they happen to notice there are actually roots from the city growing into the mountain, and it's kind of freaking everybody out. And Memphis talks to him more about gods and monsters and stuff, and he tells him that there was a monster that did destroy his world, and it's a very wicked creature, and this monster is too powerful that Godzilla himself can't even handle it. he even tells him what the monster is, and surprisingly, it's also the monster that his people began to worship eventually. Because they've actually now concurred the fact that monsters and gods are the same thing. So they start to worship the very monster that destroyed his civilization. What's the monster? Well, he whispers it to Haruo. Well, shit, that's not good. But there's something else too. The whole tour are actually getting more and more freaked out what's been happening with Mechagodzilla City. Also, the twins earlier actually had told Haruo that the city is poisonous and dangerous. So the twins actually, anytime the whole tour get anywhere near that city, they get sick. So there's obviously something wrong with the nanometal. Anyway, the survivors even get more freaked out because the Bellosaludo are being absorbed by the city itself, which is even more freaky. But it turns out the Bellosaludo, this is part of their evolution. That's part of their evolution that they become machines eventually. So they have a huge heated argument, and it turns out that the Bellosaludo that are being absorbed actually are speeding up the process of fortification, and eventually the fog barrier that surrounds the city goes down, and Godzilla is now alerted. So it's at this point we fully realize what's really been happening. Godzilla has been roaming the area looking for Mechagodzilla City because that's what he sensed earlier. Because as Godzilla was refortifying the planet, actually bringing it back to its rightful place in the cosmos as being a lush, green, beautiful planet, there was something that was bothering him, and he figured it had to be something to do with Mechagodzilla. But the thing is, he couldn't sense it for a while. That's why he was roaming the area for the last couple of thousand years. So yeah. So anyway, now Godzilla is now alerted about Mechagodzilla City. He's now on the attack. And so Haruo, Yoko, and one of the Bellosaludo commanders actually get into the vultures and try to fight off Godzilla, trying to lure him more to the trap point area. So they can continue doing the execution of Godzilla this time. Kind of like what they did with the first movie, only on a massive scale, a bigger scale. So Godzilla just rolls right onto the city. And at first, he just ignores the vultures, but after a while, he does acknowledge that they're a bit of a problem. They actually lure him to the trap point, which actually he falls into the trap point, and a giant makeshift tunnel, like a walkway, appears out of nowhere, luring him to Mechagodzilla City, and it's filled with cannon fire and everything. His heat ray doesn't actually. Now, yes, he does fire his heat ray a couple of times, but the fortifications actually have anti-Godzilla heat ray defenses. So he figures that obviously he's not going to do it again from a distance. He has to get closer to it to actually do more damage. So he does. He gets closer and closer. He attacks the city. The city is obviously fighting him back in a glorious, spectacular firefight, which is, again, kind of cool, but like I said, there's a massive problem with the whole film. Give or take. So yeah, Godzilla just continues walking on and on. They trap him close within the city itself, on the borderline of the city, and zoop, he is like swallowed up by his legs and his tail, obviously swallowed up by Nanomel, and they actually shoot massive harpoons within him, trying to actually destroy the shield. The shield generator and shit from the last film. So yeah, they destroy the shield dorsal fin, they shoot the harpoons in, and his body starts to overload again. And we're pretty much at the point where we hear Haruo yell out, "This is your end! Die, you bastard!" And most of his dorsal plates are gone at this point, but however, Godzilla just kneels down, and he doesn't explode. No, the energy's still building up inside of him, but crazy fucking thing actually happened. He's absorbing the energy and expelling it as radiation. Yes, he's literally like, okay, the harpoon weapons go right into him, overloading his body with energy, but his body's combating it into something else. And Professor Martin actually happened to realize what's happening. He's converting the energy, turning it into something else, into expellable energy that's actually going to cause the destruction of the city. What is this he's turning into? I'll give you a hint. Burning Godzilla. That's right. He is now in inferno mode. Oh, yeah. How is this possible? He's conducting a massive radiation field. The ray collar from Godzilla versus Destroyer pops up. Only this time only has massive red burns all over his body. So yeah, Godzilla is literally just is there absorbing all the heat, the energy, expelling it into radiation, turning himself into burning Godzilla, or in this case, infernal Godzilla. It's crazy as all. Actually, the crazy thing is, this movie came out just before Godzilla King of the Monsters came out in America, so post production probably got some information, probably got some details from that for this Godzilla's fire design. Wouldn't be surprising. Hey, at least it works. So everybody's wondering how the hell is Godzilla doing this? Well, gee, 20,000 years? Hey, Haruo, are you that fucking stupid? Did you not concur the fact that maybe humanity already figured this out 20,000 years ago? Yeah, think about it. They already figured it out, and they did the same thing to him thousands of years ago, and this time around, he found some way to combat it. So, yeah, this already had happened to him thousands of years ago. You fucking idiots. So your plan was never going to work. Oh. So Haruo's plan while it was a great plan, if it had worked, it could have worked thousands of years ago. But in this Godzilla's status, in his state, 20,000 years later, it's fucking worthless. The plan was never going to work. However, the Bell Saluto realized that they could still do the exact plan, but this time everybody else, all the Bell Saluto get fully mechanized. They all let the city absorb them, and everybody else is getting absorbed by the nanomill. Professor Morton yells at everybody to get the fuck out of there, which they all do, but certain people didn't actually survive. Anyway, Galagoo tells them exactly. Anyway, Captain Galagoo actually tells them exactly what the hell's been going on, and while Haruo is beyond pissed off, the Bosaluda pilot within his vulture actually got absorbed. Yoko is being absorbed, and she is freaking the fuck out. I mean, she's, that typical anime-esque of the girl is freaking out, and she fucking dies. She's gonna fucking die if she keeps this horrific shit up. Haruo gets infected too, but it doesn't, he just brushes the shit off. It's like, what the hell? What's that absorbing me? Wait, the power of my skin. Oh, so the Hotua actually saved him. Wow. God damn it, girls. You should have just let him get absorbed. Anyway, Memphis actually finally contacts Haruo because there was a lot of interference because the Bell Saludo had been blocking out his signal. So Memphis actually tells him that if this continues, that Mechagodzilla City will engulf the entire Earth at some point. And then we come to the realization that what Godzilla was really trying to do. He was searching for Mechagodzilla City to destroy it because to him, it's a bigger threat. Because if Godzilla dies, then Mechagodzilla City will just absorb the entire Earth within a couple hundred years. Wow. God damn. And nobody realized this. So, okay, so Yoko actually goes unconscious, and she passes out because of the fear and pain. Haruo grabs her, and has to make a tough decision. He's close to where he is close to Godzilla, unfortunately, though, but he's right by the command center of Mechagodzilla City, and he comes to the sad truth that if this continues, Mechagodzilla City will destroy the entire planet. And all this would have been for nothing. So that means the Earth would not be worth living on. Alright, so as Godzilla is still there, gathering as much energy as he can, turning himself into full burning Godzilla, Haruo makes the hardest decision and shoots up the entire command center. He He blasts the whole thing, and the other and the Bella Saluda who's in his vulture dies. So he falls right to Godzilla and burns to death. Well, well, Haruo gets Yoko out of her, actually gets Yoko away from the city, on the edge of the city. He's away from it. Godzilla reawakens, and he's now in full burning mode, and he's now at full power, and he burns the entire city down, just destroys it with a massive burning heat ray. Just destroys it completely. Mechagodzilla City melts within the earth, and it dies. So we're left at the seeing the horror that Mechagodzilla City, while it was a beautiful city, it still was a city of horror. And Godzilla happened to realize what was really going on, and humanity was blinded by their hatred towards them. They didn't even realize it. So yeah, Godzilla destroys Mechagodzilla City, and the movie ends with Haruo sobbing over Yoko because he realizes that he had made a massive mistake. Yep. Roll credits. But there's more. The post-credit scene of this movie tells us exactly what Memphis was trying to say. We now understand who the god was and who the true terror of the universe is, that Haruo should fear more than Godzilla. And Memphis says, Ghidorah. That's right. Ghidorah is making his appearance in this. And that is Godzilla sitting on the edge of battle. And while this is a fan favorite too, I see it as a fan favorite and a massive missed opportunity. What I mean is, would it make more sense for Mechagodzilla City to reconstruct Mechagodzilla around the same height as Godzilla? And maybe physically fight Godzilla within the city? I mean, come on, think about that. Godzilla will be out of his element, and if Godzilla blows off a limb, Mechagodzilla can just slam its body against a building, and the body turns itself into the missing limb. I mean, wow! That would have been an epic Mechagodzilla battle. But we wouldn't get a much more evil, badass Mechagodzilla until Godzilla vs. Kong. And that, folks, is my review of Godzilla sitting on the edge of battle. Now, if you excuse me, it is now past 1 a.m., and I'm extremely tired. Here's the intermission, and I will see you later on, so I can talk about the third film. Okay. Oh, come on. Oh, come on! Figures. Damn you, son of a bitch. Ah, shit. It, um, what is it? What, I'm in this too? Well, I don't like us just doing this alone. Ugh. Oh, okay, fine. The last time I was in a collab video like this, I got shot by a paintball gun. To be fair, the last film was actually the Silent Night, Deadly Night film series. Yeah. So, FFR just got done with two of the Godzilla films for the Netflix anime series. Yeah, two anime Godzilla films down in the hole. I mean, yeah, these films are pretty blah, saying at least in my opinion. So, how long is it supposed to be exactly? Why am I even in this video? I, oh, screw you. Okay, well, whatever. Here's Fiona Strike talking about the third film. All right, take it away, Fiona. Hey guys, before I get to the third film in this trilogy of movies, I've already talked about the first and second films, but I gotta discuss something that a lot of people tend to overlook on this, and something that us Americans and international fans tend to overlook too, and that is in the Japanese release versions of this trilogy. They were actually little booklet stories to actually explain how the kaiju apocalypse actually happened on Earth. Yeah, so there was a lot more detailed stories. Like there was a ton of it. Like for example, like I said in the first film's review that the Zillas actually took over. That the worst case scenarios that happened with the Zillas actually did happen. Only it was in Australia. Go figure, right? Yeah, that shit was all kinds of weird. Like there's a ton of really dark stuff in it, though. The storyline's a lot more darker than you realize. And here's a bit of a fun fact. They actually found a bird-like creature or bird-like dinosaur that was a theropod creature, and they experiment, and it had fought Godzilla on multiple occasions. And ironically enough, the creature turned out to be Gigan. Yeah, so Gigan is actually in the film. Well, not in the film particularly, but he's in the film storyline. Right? In fact, they actually added in more mechanical parts to him to replace his organics at some point, and he became a cyborg. So, and the crazy thing is that Gigan's cybernetic components led to the creation of the building blueprints to Mechagodzilla. Yeah, considering how far Mechagodzilla's origins were in this movie series, that he actually started off from being replacement parts for Gigan, and then being a bodyguard to Gigan, which later he was laid to rest, and then turned into a machine that never activated, but instead was nearly killed by Godzilla, only to lay dormant and to turn the entire mountain around him into a giant city. Crazy. As for Godzilla, oh wow, where do we begin with him? Like his storyline is like Godzilla's story arc is very dark in this version, at least in the story, at least in the booklet story arc, which is crazy. I mean, for one thing, there was actually after the humans had left, there was actually a point an asteroid was coming to Earth to actually destroy the Earth, and Godzilla went into dormancy for at least maybe I think a couple of months to a couple of years, because scientists found out about the asteroid. But Godzilla went into dormancy for a little while. But it turns out he wasn't dormant; he was actually just in the ocean, gathering as much energy as he could, pretty much like what he did in this film. Yeah, turning all of his energy to go into burning state or Inferno Godzilla, which is crazy. And I don't know where he used up all of his energy and then shot a powerful heat ray from Earth, and it went past the moon and actually hit the asteroid before it was able to get close to our so actually get close to Earth. Yeah, that is just fucking insane how that happened. Where did they come up with this stuff? Yeah. Also, what I said about the 50 nukes going off on the United States earlier, they actually tested other weapons on Godzilla in the U.S. too, which made the U.S. virtually unbearable and virtually uninhabitable. In fact, within this storyline, the U.S. is actually a death zone area. Yeah, there's virtually no life in that area. There's also no oxygen at all in that area at all. You know, kind of makes me think. They were setting something up in this movie for maybe the third film, but they didn't go that route. So, yeah. But honestly, this movie, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I didn't even touch the third film yet. But the storylines, like the background stories, are much more interesting than the actual films are. I we need a prequel trilogy. Yeah, if we needed a continuation for this franchise, no, not a continuation, a prequel series to show how fucking insane everything was that happened on Earth. It's, I mean, wow. Got a mixed drink in here, so water and juice. One of those little powder things. You know, honestly, I didn't believe it myself until I actually did a little research online a couple of years back before I saw the trilogy. But my God, knowing that the entire story arc was a lot more darker, it would have made much more sense that we would have actually, for them to actually show us what had happened. Yeah, the films would have been much longer, but they would have been better. I mean, each one of these movies is at least about an hour and a half. Well, except for the second one, which is at least like two, which is almost 2 hours long. No, I'm not gonna lie. If they added in maybe 30 to 40 minutes of extra added footage, only showing what happened in the past that led up to that point, maybe that would have made the films a little bit more interesting to actually, balance out the dull moments of the movies. And all three of these films have a ton of dull moments. What else? What else is there to say? The trilogy, in my opinion, is interesting to say the least. I mean, I have yet to. I mean, I got to talk about the third film, but wow, the storylines that led up to these films. Honestly, I would rather see those rather than these, and then this trilogy particularly. But I made my bed and I got to sleep in it. So, if you excuse me, I need to do a coffee break real quick, and I'll be back to talk about the third film. Well, first I got to watch it again, and then I got to talk about it. So, wish me luck on that one. Joe, take it away. Hmm. Oh, okay, so that's how I do it. All right, you son of a bitch. Prepare to be. What? I'm back. Like, seriously? Ugh. Well, Felix just talked about like the stories that took place in between the films. That were the prequel things. Yeah, that's nice and all. Why the hell am I even in this video? I mean, seriously. I mean, Rex is supposed to be narrating this. You have to do your part too. I gotta do my part. Yeah. Seriously. Yep. Ugh. Well, okay. Uh, well, Ferox, it just did those films. It just did the two films and oh, yeah, did two films on the freaking story so far. Well, here's the third film. Here it is, the third and final installment in the Godzilla anime trilogy. Godzilla 3, The Planet Eater, or just Godzilla the Planet Eater. What can I say about this one? This one had a lot of expectations, like high amounts of expectation, but the best film in the entire trilogy, I'm not going to lie, is obviously going to be the second one, but the third film, who's the main antagonist in this film? It's King Ghidorah. Yeah, the first film is obviously representing Godzilla. The second film is obviously Godzilla's opponent, Mechagodzilla, or in this case, Mechagodzilla City. And now that I look at these posters again, aside from actually having Legendary's Godzilla right here to screw up everything, but if you look at the original posters in their entirety, the first poster is pretty awesome as it is. But I love the second one a lot more. Just look how freaking awesome that looks. So, yeah, it's like it's literally a battle sequence, and you can see Mechagodzilla's head right here in the background, just overshadowing everything, saying, "Welcome to my city, motherfucker." Yeah, that's a pretty awesome looking design poster. Too bad the film wasn't that great. And what we have here, well, just look at Ghidorah in this one. Yeah, obviously that's not good, but still. Wow, where do we begin with this one? Well, the third film basically starts off right after the events of the second film, which of course after Mechagodzilla City is destroyed. And what is good old Big G doing? He's sleeping. I mean, no, literally, like literally the first half of the movie, Godzilla is literally sleeping because he's exhausted. I mean, he gathered up he survived being destroyed by an attack that would have actually killed him, but he survived it and turned it into complete energy, and then turning himself into burning Godzilla at that point, or in this film's case, Infernal Godzilla. So, and he expelled so much energy, he is beyond the point of exhausted. So he's gonna be like hibernating at this point. So just let him sleep it off. Anyway, Yoko is the only person who actually did survive the whole thing with the Mechagodzilla City absorbing people. But she's in a coma, so she's not exactly dead. She's in a coma. And well, Professor Martin actually suggests there's absolutely nothing they can do. And the tensions on the Atrum, I've actually gone overboard because they now know the truth of what Mechagodzilla's purpose really was. He was supposed to be Godzilla's replacement. So yeah. So there's a huge factional debate going on right now. While Memphis is trying to keep everybody calm and collected by saying God will take care of Godzilla. So, and who is this God? Like I said before, it's Ghidorah. Which is weird considering the fact that Ghidorah is the one who destroyed Memphis' homeworld. But like I said before, Memphis' species is called the Exif, and the Exif are actually, the ancient versions of what the Exilians used to be. All right, so the Exilians are like half organic and half machine. So they're actually more or less cyber. So they're sort of cyborgs, except in the Final Wars version of them, where they're actually a bit more organic and they have superpowers, calling themselves Kaisers. Yeah, Kaisers. Whatever. I've yet to talk about Godzilla Final Wars at this point. Speaking of Final Wars, did you happen to know that today they've been on every year ever since 2020 they've been actually releasing new Godzilla footage with the Final Wars Goji, and they actually have them go up against fights. Yeah, the first time was a couple of years ago when they had they had Final Wars Goji and Final Wars Hedorah fight each other. It was actually a pretty decent fight. It was old school Showa era style fighting. Nice. The following year after that was Godzilla versus Gigan, and it was an updated version of the original Gigan costume. Nice. Nice. And we had the CGI film Godzilla vs. Gigan Rex, which was made by Toho. It was originally a fan project, but Toho liked it so much, they asked the fan if they could actually finish it for him, and he gave them the storyline, and there you go. They made it for him. And by the way, fun fact, the Godzilla in that little CGI film, the little CGI short film, that Godzilla was confirmed to be Godzilla Jr. from the Heisei era. All right, the fan actually said it. Toho actually now fully confirms it. That's what Godzilla Jr. has been doing this whole time. He's been fighting off monsters for Japan, saving the Earth, and defending Japan because it's his home. Well, to be fair, he was the only Godzilla that was born in Japan, so that makes more sense. And what do they have him fighting this year? Jet Jaguar. Why did they have to make him fight Jet Jaguar? I have no idea. All I can say is thank God it's the Final Wars Goji suit because that's actually the best Godzilla suit that was actually designed in recent years. Although it's not the exact same suit, it's a what you would call it a recreation of that suit. Yeah, because the original suit itself is actually in the Godzilla Museum in the Godzilla Hotel. All right, where fans can actually take photos with it. Other than that, they actually made a new suit that's actually identical to that one, but you can clearly see it's a newly designed suit with a few new attributes. But you know what? It was the best designed suit, so that's good for them. Okay, I'm sorry, I went a little overboard because that's what they usually do on these every day for Godzilla's birthday and on my birthday. They always show these little short films. They're awesome, but for some reason, Toho takes them down afterwards. Seriously, Toho, stop doing that. Let the fans just enjoy it. I'm an old school style fan, and I love the original films. Come on, I like the old school style way of filming for Godzilla. Yeah, come on. Hail to the king, man. Also, to be fair, I had no idea I was born on the same day the original Godzilla film was released. So, who would have figured, right? Who would have figured? It makes me wonder what the hell I'm going to be doing next year for Godzilla's birthday. Maybe I'll review the legendary films. Actually, no, probably not going to. I already did like one film, and that's kind of a regret. Anyway, Memphis is trying to make a martyr out of Haruo, and there's tensions going on top of the Atrum. And while Haruo is actually trying to get in with one of the twin girls, the sweet girl, and then there's the mean girl. But I can't tell which one's which, honestly, because of the namesake. So I'm just going to call it sweet one, mean one. All right. So Haruo actually tries to mate with the sweet one because he actually was healed by one of them earlier from the first film. But the thing is, he was sure it was that one. But the thing is, when she was trying to undress his armor, she didn't know how to undress it. So it was clear to say that it was the mean one who actually healed him earlier. Okay, did not see that one coming. Oh wait, yeah, I did. Why is it always got to be the mean ones who actually have to be the ones you have to mate with? Can't be the super sweet one, so it's got to be the mean one. What are the odds? Anyway, we discovered that Memphis has actually been telepathically communicating with the Elder exit on the Atrum, trying to prepare for the sacrifice on the planet. So it turns out Memphis and his entire race of people have actually been preparing everybody for the ultimate sacrifice for King Ghidorah. And he brainwashed everybody to actually trying to summon him. He uses that little device thing that actually that the Bel Saludo actually repaired, and at some point he actually replaces his eye with the device. And in a sec, and within and during a Holy Communion, they actually summon King Ghidorah. But before this actually happened, the mean Haruo is actually off hiding with the mean girl. I mean, with the sweet girl, but she actually comes back later, and the mean girl goes to take her place, and she's the one who actually undresses him. And yeah, off camera sex scene later, and yeah, go figures. We had to have a sex scene in this one, but it was actually cut out. Though, to be fair, the way the films have been going so far, it wouldn't be surprising if we got one sex scene in these movies. Wouldn't be surprising. Just not down. I mean, you had partial nudity in the franchise beforehand, especially in the original Japanese version. So, Memphis actually summons King Ghidorah, where King Ghidorah's shadow actually consumes the flesh of all of of all the people who are being sacrificed. And then it goes out. He goes out to the field and actually summon King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah actually comes out by the there's a singularity that pops open by the Atrum, and the Bella Saludo have actually taken control of the engine room. But they think, but the way the ship everything's going, a lot of the systems are going crazy. Like time conversions and shit are happening all over. King Ghidorah's head just neck just wraps around the Atrum and then just destroys it, killing everybody on board. And this somehow wakes Godzilla up from his slumber. He's not even fully recharged yet, but he can sense there's actually immediate danger going on. Martin and the rest of the crew, along with the Hotua, actually see there's something going on. Haru and the mean one get dressed. The sweet one is actually taken hostage by Memphis, and Memphis is out in the field summoning King Ghidorah to come down to Earth. And Godzilla wakes up and he moves towards the area. Though Godzilla's not even thinking about attacking the Hotua because they basically try to stay. He actually has an understanding with them, knowing that they have to stay away from him. No, he senses a greater danger, something that's planetary destructive danger. It's King Ghidorah. The same singularity opens up, and King Ghidorah's head just comes climbing right out. And what does Godzilla do? Godzilla charges up his heat ray. Boom! And what happens with the heat ray? King Ghidorah's head. The heat ray. It gets deflected. It's crazy. And you know what's even more crazy? Everybody can see the singularity. Everybody can see King Ghidorah is right there, except the computer instruments are not picking him up. What? So, Martin's is actually going crazy. Wait a minute, what the hell's going on? I mean, the computer's not even registering that thing is even there, but it's right there, and Godzilla's trying to fight it. What the fuck is that thing? As you can clearly see, it's not going too well. No, it is not going too well. And Godzilla and two other singularities pop open, and King Ghidorah's other two heads come right down. And you want to know what happens? Godzilla tries to fight them off. Like try melee combat and stuff, but his punches go right through him, and his tail attacks. Everything he's doing is going right through King Ghidorah or being deflected off of King Ghidorah. It doesn't make any sense. And how's Ghidorah fight him? Fights him here, and of course right here. Just this. You see what I'm doing with my Godzilla figurine? That is basically the entire fight of Godzilla and King Ghidorah throughout most of this entire movie. Yeah, it's just doing this. Get used to that, folks. That's the entire fight scene. Haru actually finds out where the hell Memphis is, and he tries to stop Memphis from doing everything, but Memphis is actually Has actually been telepathically messing around with Haruo, which is not good. And thus, the mean girl actually goes to. Anyway, Godzilla tries to power up again, tries to go into thermal mode, but it doesn't work because Ghidorah is literally just draining his energy. It doesn't make any sense. And at some point, he even lifts Godzilla up, and continuously drains his power. How is this all possible? How is Ghidorah doing this? Here's the reason why. Martin makes the discovery. It just comes to his head that Ghidorah is an extra dimensional being. He's not even from this dimension. He's actually from a different dimension altogether. That's why that's why the laws of reality don't apply to him. So it means somebody is actually controlling Ghidorah to come here to kill Godzilla and destroy the entire world. And so the mean girl takes Professor Martin down to the back down to the Hotua Temple, thus thus actually we see the egg they were worshiping. It's Mothra's egg, right? So they try contact. I should mention throughout this entire time, we're seeing all these dark visions of Haruo, all the dark choices he has made, and all the stuff he's made to actually make things worse for humanity. That he's actually doomed humanity, and it turns out that that Memphis has actually been tutoring him to this whole entire state. So Haruo will actually accept King Ghidorah, and thus making King Ghidorah fully come into this reality and destroying Godzilla and destroying the entire Earth. However, during the memory surge, we actually see that it was Memphis from the first movie when the landing party from the first movie was going down to that other planet and was destroyed. We found that Memphis actually held on to the bomb and gave it to one of the passengers. Yeah, he set the whole thing up. He wanted people to go back to Earth. Son of a bitch. This guy's one son of a bitch. To do something like that. Really fuck with humanity the way it is. And how is King Ghidorah doing all this? Do we even see King Ghidorah in this true form? Well, mostly in just little shadow forms here and there. Why is King Ghidorah the way he is? Well, here's a bit of a fun fact. Billions of years ago, King Ghidorah was a servant for a Godzilla on a different planet billions of years ago. However, he broke away from that order and actually consumed everything on the planet, killing his Godzilla and actually going out to the cosmos and trying to do the exact same thing to other planets that have the same issue problem. And once he actually found the exit, he became a god, and they put him into another dimension known as the Void to keep him in hibernation mode. So, in other words, King Ghidorah's true form is actually in the Void, while when he's being shipped back to reality, it's actually an external form of his, sort of like an extension of his body from the Void. I guess the best way to comparison him is kind of like how Darkseid in the DC in DC is that his true form, Darkseid, King of Apocalypse, Darkseid, his true form is not the form we see. Is that those are actually just avatars of what he really looks like when he was alive. But he's actually so powerful. He lives in the fourth. He lives in on a different plane called Fourth World or Fourth Dimension. If he steps foot in reality, he'll destroy all of existence. So I guess it's sort of the same thing there. So I guess Ghidorah's got the same abilities as Darkseid, which is really weird. How the hell they were able to pull that off? However, thanks to Mothra, we actually get a brief cameo from Mothra. Mothra actually helps break through Memphis' spell real quick. Actually, that way Martin and the Mean Girl could actually try talking to Haruo, saying that he has to fight back. Because Godzilla, even though he's doing this, he's literally trying to struggle and trying to stop him to fight King Ghidorah, but he can't because he's physically impossible. It's physically impossible for him to fight him. But Godzilla is trying to fight to save what's left of the Earth because it's his home. So at some point, Haruo accepts his decisions and actually breaks out of Memphis' spell, actually gets his thumb on top of Memphis' eye where the device is, and he actually gouges his eye out, destroying the device. But in doing so, Ghidorah now is now able to be physically within reality. So Godzilla's able to physically fight him this time around. So he basically tears the heads off by ripping one head off, smashing another one with his tail, and using his heat ray to destroy the third head. And thus he uses his heat ray to destroy the other singularities, destroying Ghidorah's interest to come back to reality. So no matter how you look at it, Godzilla saved the Earth from Ghidorah, and possibly the universe for the time being. Memphis actually dies from the pure shock of when that just happened. But the sad thing is, Memphis was another friend to Haruo. And Haruo's life has just been based on nothing but tragedy, which is ridiculous. Anyway, Haruo accepts what he had done, and he accepts for Godzilla what he is and stuff. So the remaining humans actually accept the way of the Hotua's lifestyle, and they just abandon technology, and they just become one with the Earth. Cool. All right, we got a bunch of hippies now. Actually, you know what? Joking aside, that's probably the smartest way they would have gone to anyway. So, all right, fine. So they just accept the way of life, and they actually flourish with life. And the mean girl gets pregnant. She marries Haruo, but he still has feelings for Yoko. But something actually happened. This happened just a couple of months later. Like about a month later passes by. Like a month or two passes by, and we find out. And Martin was actually able to get the last vulture working. Yeah, the vultures from this film, from the second film that were made for Mechagodzilla. Yeah, he actually got the damn thing to work this time around. However, when he saw the vulture working, he actually had a vision of Ghidorah coming back. If they continue going back if they use the Mechagodzilla's technology, they're probably going to go back where they started and have the kaiju apocalypse again. So Haruo makes a very harsh decision. So what's Haruo do? He gets Yoko's body, he says his goodbyes to everybody, he gets into the vulture, and he flies it straight towards Godzilla. Godzilla actually watches the vulture coming towards him. And Haruo just gives a speech saying that this is all because of the hatred. Destroy the hatred. All right? So mankind and Earth can live in peace. So what does Godzilla do? He grants the wish, and he destroys the vulture with Haruo and Yoko inside of it. So yeah, Godzilla kills Haruo in the end. Basically, Haruo sacrificed himself to make sure humanity can live on Earth in peace with Godzilla. Yep. Thus, the credits roll, post-credit sequence. Haruo is basically Jesus fucking Christ at this point. Yeah, Haruo went from the savior of mankind to Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. Yeah, nice one, Haruo, you ass. Oh. And that was the fucking Godzilla anime trilogy on Netflix. Would I recommend watching any of these films? Okay, if you're into sci-fi films and anime films, these may be interesting, but as Godzilla films, the only that's Godzilla related is probably the second one more. Yeah, because other than that, the other two, not so much. But you want to know what's even more crazy? If you saw the other video I just did earlier, which this is part of a big video, which means you probably did, when I was talking about America actually being a wasteland, here's what I found out that we're actually planning to do, and it was supposed to actually be in the third film, but for some reason they canceled it and just kept King Ghidorah in there, because King Ghidorah is the main baddie, and believe it or not, Godzilla King of the Monsters was literally about to come out in America, so they just kept King Ghidorah in there instead. But apparently they were trying to set up that Destroyer was supposed to be in the film. Yeah, Destroyer was supposed to come in and actually join the fight. So, in what way? Well, for one thing, remember I said that Ghidorah actually was a servant at one point that served the Godzilla on his homeworld, and he went against it and destroyed it? Well, the same thing was happening on Earth, but this time around, instead of a Ghidorah, it was Destroyer. Yeah, think about that. I think the actual idea of the movie was that Destroyer would come in and knock down Godzilla, grab Ghidorah's head, and actually hit one of his heads, and pull him back into reality, thus actually just challenging both of them for universal dominance. Yeah, Destroyer, Godzilla, and King Ghidorah in a triple threat match. That is going to be the most awesome bout ever. Too bad it's not even in this movie. No, the only way you're going to see that is in one of the issues of Godzilla in Godzilla in Hell, which I'm not kidding. They actually had the GMK Godzilla in that issue fight King Ghidorah, and Destroyer. And Godzilla, and it was like a literal hellish match where Godzilla gets decapitated, but his head keeps rolling back. It's just one nightmare of a match. But Godzilla uses his smarts and actually winds up getting out of the fight completely by actually escaping that hellish realm. Maybe sort of, you know what? It wouldn't surprise. You know what? Maybe Godzilla in Hell would actually be a really good adaptation for them to actually make into a film series or an anime series. Either way, that sounds really amazing. But no, we got this instead. And what I just said about Destroyer actually being in the film coming out of nowhere, it would have made no sense. But you know what? The fight would have been awesome regardless. But too bad we didn't get to see that. No, if you want to see that, you got to read the issue of Godzilla versus Hell, Godzilla in Hell, where he's actually fighting Ghidorah and Destroyer. Oh, that was just a mouthful. And you know what the sad part is? I'm not done yet. No, I am not done. I got one more Godzilla thing to review. And what is that? Godzilla Singular Points. Guys, can you take over for like maybe a minute? I just need a break. Because I gotta watch the anime again. So stay tuned. So is there intermission with Joe and Rex? I gotta go. I need some coffee. Then we're going to go take a shit, and then I'll come back afterwards to talk about Godzilla Singular Point. Wish me luck. Sometimes it's better to film. Really? Me again? Oh, come on! This is ridiculous. I can't even sit down and read a goddamn book. Okay, look. All right. So, Felix just talked about all three of the films. Um, I got nothing else to say. All right, this is my cameo appearance. All right, so keep me out of this video. All right. Okay. There you go. Felix, it was good enough that I actually helped you. That actually helped Rex with the whole zombie film the other day. But still, can you just let me have some peace to quiet to myself? Eh? All right, so here's the final film. Here's the final Godzilla anime thing. Where's the damn button? Here we are, folks. The final anime thing with Godzilla. Godzilla, Singular Point. What can I say about this? It looks good. Music is great. The monster designs look amazing. Get the overall story. What the fuck? I gotta be honest here. I didn't know what the hell they were thinking with the storyline. There's a lot of techno babble in this anime that's a lot worse than the anime trilogy that Netflix actually originally had. And the weapon actually is utilized to stop Godzilla in the end is called the octagonal deagonizer, or something of that nature. But here's the thing: it looks like the oxygen destroyer. But what it does is, if it's actually connected to one, if it actually hits one of the monsters, giant crystals come bursting out of the creature and consume the entire area. Wow. Just fucking wow. And you know what? Godzilla's not even in the anime that much. He's got less screen time in it, so more than he does in the actual anime films. You know what? Godzilla does show up in the movie. It does show up in the first episode, though, but it's not what you think. All right, Godzilla actually has forms, different stages of his evolution. Yeah, he goes through different stages of evolution in this movie. Gee, I wonder if I've seen that before. Like, that's all going through different stages of evolution. maybe even close to a state that was actually close to his final form or something, close to what he originally looks like. At, really? They're rehashing Shin Godzilla's storyline, except this one actually has monsters in it. Yeah. Huh. And, oh yeah, here's a bit of a fun fact. Godzilla actually fights other monsters in this one. Yeah, would you like to see this Godzilla fight? No, this isn't the Godzilla you see fight. No, this is what he looks like. Yeah. Huh. Actually, joking aside, this one actually looks really awesome by comparison. I mean, this one is like, it looks really deformed. It looks crazy. But this one, yeah, his legs are huge, but again, now it looks like he's designed to be a theropod style dinosaur. And he actually does run in a few segments. We literally see him sprinting with these giant ass legs. Oh, to be honest, this is a cool design. Too bad the anime was a fucking waste. So, what's the anime actually about? Well, the thing is, a couple of researchers and defense and some special services people are actually trying to find out, actually homing on this one signal of an old song from India for some reason. That's really weird. It's a lullaby song, but apparently it's been sent from the future, actually trying to warn everybody of a catastrophe that's going to destroy the world. Catastrophe? I wonder what the catastrophe. It's Godzilla. Really? So yeah, a catastrophe that's going to destroy the entire fucking world. Yeah, apparently, a scientist from many years ago actually found out about like Godzilla's existence. Has the skeleton of the original Godzilla somewhere in the basement, and a lot of ridiculous government services, a lot of back talk and stuff, political back talk. There's a lot of that crap in this anime, which is all kinds of ridiculous. Right. But to be fair, and also Jet Jaguar's in this too. Yeah, however, they gave him a kid voice for some reason. I don't know, for a computerized kid voice. Wouldn't it make more sense to give him a manly voice? That's like systems, systems online, ready to attack. And the first monster we actually see is actually Rodan, and there's different variations of Rodans in this anime. So they're usually around the size of a pterodactyl, but they're highly radioactive. We actually see bandas eventually later on too. And in Godzilla's first form, he actually fights off the Mandas, and he continues doing it in this form. Okay, here's the thing. I know it's kind of weird that I'm actually talking about the Singular Point anime if I don't have a physical copy of it, though. But I'm making an exception this time around because I don't know if they're ever going to release that shit on DVD or Blu-ray. I mean, they released Cobra Kai on DVD, which I gotta get all 5 seasons of it. Though I'm waiting for season 6 to come out for Cobra Kai, which that's one of the reasons why I haven't done any of the Karate Kid films yet. Though I could probably do that. I could probably do the other Karate Kid with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan, but I don't know. I'm like iffy on that one. I could do the next Karate Kid, but so far they're saying that one's not canonically canon. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. But to be fair, Jet Jaguar gets a lot of screen time in this anime. Now, joking aside, what people say about Jet Jaguar, he is actually a huge fan favorite. It's just that because of the anime, they actually did him more justice. There's also the main characters going. There's actually the main characters going around, the human characters, which are somewhat okay, but there's a lot more human characters in. There's even another human character with two computerized systems. One called BP. Yeah, BP, which is a computerized system that the defense department, what these defense guys actually created for her. So I don't know. There's a lot of technical mumbo jumbo shit going around here. I can't even keep up with it anymore. I worked as an IT consultant for. I worked as an IT consultant when I was in college. For Christ's sake, even I call horse shit on that one. Oh, yeah. But to be fair, like I said, there are other kaijus in this whole thing too. There's even like another secondary boss character in this movie in the anime that looks reminiscent to Gabra from Godzilla's Revenge. So I'm starting to think maybe he's a redesign of the Gabra creature, but they call him something else. So he's sort of a sub boss character compared to the main boss, which is Godzilla, of course. Anguirus is in the anime, and he looks really great. He's not kaiju fine, but hey, sure, whatever. He still looks great. We have like giant spiders, praying. Actually, here's the thing: the insects that are actually in this are sort of a combination of a hybrid between the giant spider, the kamak, the giant mantis, and Megalon. They even toss Hairite in there just for good measure. And every time Godzilla's on screen, red mist is coming out of his body. It's weird, like red seas, red water. Apparently, this mist is supposed to be something that's toxic to everything and it's supposed to be suitable for Godzilla. It is so fucking weird. In fact, if you look at the dorsal plates right here, you'll see the stem lines right here. In the anime, the stem lining is all red, and that's where the myth is coming from. It's from its dorsal plates. Huh? Huh? Well, that might explain why Furious decided to dress up as Jesse Stone this year. Huh? That's very um. Hold on a second, folks. Technical difficulties. It, that was weird. Huh. Oh yeah, sorry about that, folks. I hit the wrong button right here. Let me just move the cursor away from the camera. There we go. Yeah. So I guess the only other thing I could talk about in this whole thing is like the main storyline is that the human characters are trying to stop Godzilla, but he's just too powerful for them. And of course, he has different stages of his evolution, much similar to Shin Godzilla. However, with Shin Godzilla, well, yeah, with Shin Godzilla, it's ridiculous. But with this one, it makes more sense. But what's really ridiculous in this anime is Godzilla's forms. The three forms he has before this one, this is called the Ultima form. And I forgot what the other forms are called because this is the form that matters the most. But here's the thing. The other forms are, the first form, is aquatic form, is, it's Titanosaurus. Yeah, it looks like Titanosaurus. And that's crazy because people have actually wondered if Titanosaurus, they were going to bring him back at some point. Well, they did as Godzilla's first form. The second form is Varan. Yeah, he goes from aquatic to semi-aquatic to amphibious form. Semi-aquatic, amphibious, that's clearly Varan. They even have his roar, which is crazy. And then he evolves out of that thing into a dinosaur form, which is clearly bait, which it took me a while to realize it though, but there's also tentacles coming out of his back, which are really disgusting. But his form is clearly that of Gorgosaurus. All three of these monsters are clear dinosaur creatures that they've only been in a few films, but they never made a comeback, except for in stock footage. Well, they did. And guess what? Godzilla's fourth and final form is his most indestructible form ever. Literally, he's just going around destroying Tokyo, and that's pretty much about it, though. Some of the scenery stuff with like the red clouds looks like that of an atomic bomb or something. But seriously, some of the scenery and the music really put an apocalyptic feel on this whole thing. It just needs more screen time with Godzilla, and he does fight off the other monsters. He fights off Mandas, he fights off Rodans. It would have been nice if he fought Anguirus, as a reference to Godzilla Raids Again, but nope, that's not what happened. Shame. Fucking shame. What are you gonna do about that shit? Unfortunately, you can't do anything about it. Because apparently that's not what they wanted. But anyway, they actually get the ultimate super weapon to actually stop Godzilla, and they were trying to look for a sub-broadcast signal, which one of the signal boosters is actually in India, which there's like a whole cast of characters trying to go through that whole thing. And BP is trying to go into the main computer system trying to find the actual code to actually. And Jet Jaguar has been fighting off the monsters for so long that his system is actually given a code to actually for him to decode, but it actually drove his system insane, and he's been rebooting himself, resetting his system ever since. So, and every time a monster does attack, though, he does go into autopilot mode and fight off a monster real quick. But when it came down to the time, like supposedly they have to use the weapon on Godzilla, and it has to be close to where Godzilla's head is. Which the main character in Jet Jaguar do get to Godzilla in Tokyo at some point, and it's crazy. And also, is being covered by insects. What type of insects? Well, it's basically the Meganula creatures from Rodan and Godzilla versus Megaguirus. And the less to say about that film, the better. But seriously, I could come up with a really good Godzilla or a good kaiju film concept with the whole black hole thing and being shot to getting rid of one monster, but instead releases a kaiju apocalypse. Yeah, I can see that. I can make an entire, I can make a book series about that too. I may just do that. So anyway, they actually do wind up using try using the weapon on him, but unfortunately, it won't activate because they don't actually have the code for it though. BP actually goes further into the system, and BP actually finds the original scientist that discovered Godzilla a long time ago, gets the code, and actually shoots it over the Jet Jaguar, though. But however, BP shoots itself over its data stream over to Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar, while it was going through all the system updates, actually is now fully done updating itself. And Jet Jaguar, I gotta be honest, he's around the size of a, you remember the mech suits I was talking about in the Godzilla anime? He's around that size. He's like maybe uh 15 feet tall, close to 20 feet tall. He's not that big because Godzilla in this anime is like about 100 meters tall when he's at full height. But anyway, Jet Jaguar does the most batshit insane thing in the anime. Off camera, he actually absorbs the weapon and he grows to the size to fight Godzilla. So yeah, he's kaijuified, and we find out the most batshit insane thing that was a twist. The person who sent the signal back, the song that sent the signal back to warn him about the catastrophe, was Jet Jaguar. But not Jet Jaguar. He's actually a combination of Jet Jaguar and BP, calling himself Jet Jaguar BP. And he fights Godzilla off. Though, to be fair, Godzilla's just too powerful for him to handle, but he does put up a decent fight to stop Godzilla. Basically, the final result of the fight is Jet Jaguar has half his face blown off, but Godzilla shoots his heat right down on him. But when he did that, it reactivates the weapon and thus killing Godzilla. The weapon activates, killing Godzilla by crystallizing the entire area. Good God, I got tongue tied there. So Jet Jaguar just crystallized the entire Tokyo area, killing Godzilla in the process. Wow. And thus the anime, all the human characters get together and stuff to celebrate. The boy and girl character, which I did not give two shits about their names at all, so why the hell even bother? It's the boy and girl character. Anyway, she actually helps rebuild a new BP unit, and BP is back. They actually try to rebuild Jet Jaguar. And what is this government official? And we have government officials in a secret lab in a post-credit sequence building Mechagodzilla off the bones of the first Godzilla. As in reference to Godzilla, as in the Millennium Godzilla film series. And who was in charge of it? The main scientist who discovered Godzilla decades ago, and he's still alive. They made an assumption that he was dead this entire time, but nope, he was still alive. And that was Godzilla's singular point. This is my best friend to describe how the anime works. But all I can say is, Toho, wouldn't this have worked better? All right, just hear me out. I think I found a way to make this anime work a lot better and make it more Godzilla-ish. Keep Godzilla's Ultima form as the true Godzilla form, and as for the other three forms, turn them into kaiju, okay? That way you have Titanosaurus come back to Varan and Gorgosaurus, and then make sure they're all kaijuified. But have Godzilla actually try attacking Japan every once in a while, and also finding out the other kaiju. But the whole storyline about there being a massive disaster, a great catastrophe happening, keep that in there, but pull a But here's the thing. Make sure the catastrophe is not Godzilla. No. Here's where the catastrophe should have been better. Have the catastrophe be Bagan. Yeah, the ultimate Godzilla enemy, Bagan. Holy shit! We have not seen him make a film appearance or even a TV, even an anime appearance, even once. He only made one appearance. One. 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 One appearance. And that was in the American video game Super Godzilla on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. That game sucked, okay? But the Godzilla fighting game that was on the Super Famicom, that game was awesome. Even though it was actually also ported on the what's it called? The TurboGrafx 16 in CD format. You know, seriously, AVGN, if you watch my show, you gotta do the rest of the Godzilla games, alright? You're a Godzilla fan, you owe it to yourself to do the rest of the Godzilla games. You only did like, what, half of them? I'm disappointed, man. Okay, you know, I don't want to get into a feud with the angry video game nerd at this point, but here's the thing. When I said before having Bagan be the catastrophe, that makes more sense. He goes through evolutionary stages just like Godzilla does in this anime. So, why not have Bagan go through the same evolutionary stages? Only Godzilla's been trying to fight him off, and so is the military, but Godzilla is not exactly the hero in this anime. No, he's sort of on neutral ground, kind of like an enemy, just an animal defending his territory. But in the end, he actually makes a tough decision where he actually has to side with the humans to protect humanity and the Earth from this massive catastrophe, and thus going after Bagan and killing him. And the anime basically ends with Godzilla having a choice: destroy the rest of the city. No. In the end, he turns around and goes right back into the ocean, saying that he made his point. He's not here to fight anymore. He just wants to go rest. In my opinion, that's how the anime should have worked. Godzilla Singular Point should have been all about that. But anyway, that was my look into the Godzilla Anime Saga. So we have the Netflix trilogy, which is debatable at best, and we have the Singular Point series, which is kind of a hard to sit through one, but you'd be a champ if you do go through it. I wouldn't fully recommend it, but hey, Godzilla's in them regardless. If you're a Godzilla fan, give them a watch. But if I were you, I would stick to Godzilla the series, with ZJ. ZJ being Zilla Jr. Yeah, that's probably something the anime should have been. But I digress. Oh, I freaking did it. I went through the entire Godzilla Netflix anime saga. Is there any form of redemption for this? Well, actually, we have the Gamera series that came out later this year on Netflix, and it was way better. Yeah, Gamera actually did better in anime format than Godzilla did, which is really sad. Although the one thing I really needed to ask the studio was, why the hell did they drop the F-bomb several times in the anime? I mean, Gamera's meant for kids and young adults. Did you have to drop the F-bomb? What the fuck is wrong with you guys? Who the hell am I kidding? As for Godzilla's Singular Point, there was originally supposed to be a second season, but it has been no word since then. The anime came out in 2021. It's now 2023, and there's no word on the new anime so far. It's weird. The only thing we have that's Godzilla related to a television series is actually the new Monarch series that's actually based on this Godzilla. Yeah. And that's it. You know what? I'm going to take a little break for a while. To the next time, I'll review some other movie and hope. Oh, yeah, that's right. The new Godzilla film is actually on theaters in Japan right now, but it's not coming out to the United States until the following month. And you know what? I can't wait to see that film. Godzilla -1. And Godzilla in that movie looks fucking awesome. How's he look? He's like a modernized version of what the original Heisei design looks. It's a proper design. and it looks great. And I just like the way it looks. So who knows? Maybe we'll get another Godzilla anime at some point in the future. I mean, this was actually his first stop in the anime format. Wasn't exactly that great, but it did leave behind something. But sooner or later, we might get a new Godzilla anime sometime in the future. But until that time, this is Ferox Frank, finally signing off. Rex, make some closing statements. Please, make the closing statements. I'm done now. And that's it, folks. That was Ferox Frank's review on the entire Godzilla anime saga. Well, to put it bluntly, if you want to see Godzilla in better animation format, you're better off watching Godzilla the series, which is actually based on Zilla Jr., aka ZJ, which is kind of weird. But to be fair, well, Furox said that they should have had Boggin in the anime as the main villain character. That would have been much more better. And Godzilla would have had a choice to either destroy humanity or actually help humanity and get rid of this monster that would have caused an ultimate catastrophe. Sweet fucking Jesus. What the hell were they thinking of that one? I don't know. I guess they just wanted to actually fix up the fact that they wanted to fix up Shin Godzilla or something. I don't know. But either way, we have a new Godzilla film out called Godzilla Minus One. Ferox is going to take Joe and I to go see it once it comes out in theaters next month here in the United States. So, that being said, happy birthday, Ferox Frank. Happy birthday, Godzilla. Happy Godzilla Day. Well, we see you all next time.